Today on Lake Commandos, a high, hot sun, flat, calm water, and a small, weedy lake. Not exactly prime conditions for walleye fishing.
Ah, you're smoking me.
Unless, of course, you're a Lake Commando.
Wow, he was barely hooked.
I love fishing new water. The challenge is always the same. Find fish, trigger strikes. Ooh, that's a big fish. But what I really love is beating the other guy. I got a fish. This is Lake Commandos.
There are two things that get a Lake Commando all fired up: new, undiscovered water and taking on the best anglers in the business. Today, Steve Pennaz is faced with both. A 500-acre undeveloped gem of a lake rumored to be loaded with hungry walleyes, and one of the country's top professional walleye fishermen, Brosdahl.
He's passionate mostly about catching giant panfish, big bluegills, big crappies, but he's really an expert at catching walleyes because that's what he does day in and day out as a full-time guide. But this guy, you're gonna see in the Hall of Fame someday. Well, we're getting closer. Tell me a little bit more about the lake.
Well, it's just a mystery, and you hear rumors of nice walleyes in here. The lake's about close to 500 acres, and there's a lot of lakes that size around, but the bigger ones take the pressure off these smaller lakes.
Today's Commando mission has the potential to be a wild one, with two very competitive anglers going head-to-head. The goal is to find and catch fall walleyes on a small, nearly featureless lake. When it comes to walleyes, most anglers assume bigger bodies of water are better, but that isn't always the case. Here are the details on today's battleground. The lake is 500 acres and has a max depth of 50 feet. Water clarity is very good at over 12 feet. Habitat and cover is limited to one main lake point and one mid-lake hump. There's an abundance of shoreline vegetation and a well-defined submerged weed line made up of cabbage and coontail. The lake is loaded with forage, with yellow perch being the most abundant prey species. There's also a healthy population of lake shiners and tullaby. The weather is unseasonably warm and not particularly suited for walleye fishing, with air temps expected to be near 80, water temps in the high 70s, and very light winds. Those are the conditions the Lake Commandos are facing, and we're about to find out their plan of attack. But we want to know how you would fish it, so let us know online.
Well, we got a big challenge today. We're going to a new body of water, and I have to admit, this is not what I expected. I expected rock shorelines, hardwood forest up to it, and we've got a lot of cattails. We got clear water, but it's a little bit darker. I'm going to be fishing a jigging spoon called a vibrato. It's made by Sabile. It's a horizontal bait, as you can see. Drop it to the bottom, just rip it up, and we'll see if we can find some active fish. I've got 10-pound fluorocarbon as a leader, all the way up to an Invisiswivel. This is a 25-pound Invisiswivel and a main line of 10-pound test. I'm fishing it on a 6/8 Fenwick Atos rod. It's a medium heavy, and I'm fishing a Revo LTX from a Japanese domestic market. It's a brand new reel. It's available in the States for the first time ever, and for you finesse fishermen, this is the reel to try. So is live bait going to be the ticket today, or are the fish going to be aggressive and go on this jigging spoon? I'm counting on a jigging spoon, and this is the one I'm going to use to beat Bro today.
Oh, come on, Steve and that fancy crap. Walleyes like meat, and I've got lots of it here. I have a crawler can filled with night crawlers, ice on the bottom in case it gets hot. This will keep them cool and ready to go. And then we have a Frable 1404 full of shiner minnows ready to roll. And with today's water laws, this is the way to go because you can't transport water in your boat. So bait shop bait in a 1404 bubbler is perfect. I'm using a light action rod with a size 20 Revo reel, braid to my sinker, fluorocarbon leader, light, 8 or 10 pound test, it doesn't matter, and a size 4 hook to hook on a leech or a shiner or crawler. So 3 different flavors of meat, versus Steve's artificials, it's gonna be a battle. Let's see who wins. Let's go over by this point and kind of cruise around the point and see if there's anything laying there, because there's deep water on both sides of that point and a hump off of it, so maybe they're there.
This Commando walleye mission is underway, and each angler will have 2 hours to put their plan into action. The guy with the most fish at the end of the day wins.
Doesn't that look appetizing? Walleye candy.
The guys will put Bro's live bait rigging tactic to work first. Brian using a leech, and Steve using a golden shiner.
All right, how's it feel?
It feels like a bass. Too many. That's a walleye.
Yeah, there's your eater.
There we go.
All right.
One for the good guys. This one's going in the live box.
There you go. That's an eater.
Yeah. Got him on a shiner. This is the bait right here. That took that fish. It's a fairly big meal, but not that big when you look at the size of the fish.
Steve Pennaz strikes walleye gold first, but he knows this is Bro's specialty, and one fish is never gonna do it today. Lake Commandos is brought to you by Abu Garcia for life, Trilene, Anglers Trust Berkeley Trilene, Ranger Boats, still building legends one at a time, Nanofill, the next generation in fishing line, Fish Hound, real-time fishing reports, and by Garmin, fight your fish, not your fish finder.
There you go. All right.
The Lake Commandos are on a mission to find and catch fall walleyes on small water. And Steve Pennaz has the early lead on one of the best walleye anglers in the business, Brian Brosdahl.
There's a bite. There's a bite. There you go. Give him some line. Got him. A little bit better fish. Oh, he just got off.
Oh no.
Ah.
That's a bummer.
That was a walleye.
Felt walleye-esque.
That was walleye. See the teeth marks in the bait here? Bro decided to fish live bait rigs this morning, a decision that didn't surprise me. It's a very effective way to catch walleyes. What surprised me is when he went to a leech and we had shiner minnows available, and the waters are starting to cool now. They're in the mid 70s, and it could be a very good fall bite on shiners. But when you have two people in the boat and you both fish the same technique, you really don't learn anything. Bro fished leeches, never really got a bite on them. I fished shiners, I had 6 or 7 bites. And even though we were only 10 feet apart in terms of where our baits were, the leech versus the shiner, there was a huge difference in the number of bites that the fish wanted. So whenever you're in the boat with somebody else, don't fish the exact same color bait or even the same bait itself. Try and tweak things and fish something different to see what the fish want that day. It's going to help you get on fish faster and get on that pattern that's going to load the boat for you.
You get him?
Would this be number 4?
Oh.
Oh, it's a perch.
All right. I like perch are fun too because they don't count.
You had plenty of time to eat it.
I'm gonna feed. Oh, I gotta feed this one for a second.
You got a bite too?
While you're dealing with that perch, I'm gonna deal with this.
Good one?
Yeah, it feels like a decent one. Yeah.
Don't get too cocky. You need the net.
You just catch all those eaters. I'll just catch the big ones.
Is that a big fish?
It's a decent one.
Give me the net. Wow, look at that. I had throbber. Let's see what this is.
It's a walleye.
Walleye. Nice one. Real nice one. Beauty. You get that on a leech?
No, I've got a shiner on.
Yeah. Nice fish, bro.
All right. You like them kind.
That's beauty.
Give me. Just grab that here for a second.
Yeah, look at that.
Now we're talking. All right, Steve, you getting nervous?
No.
All right. Let's let him go.
Oh, it's too big to eat.
Yep. There you go. All right. We've been hooking him through the nose. That fish, I'll hook him through his other nose back here. A little bit more activity. If you look in the water here, look how he moves. that triggers more bites.
So why weren't you doing that earlier?
I don't know. Didn't think of it.
You know, it's funny when you make those little tiny tweaks, like how you hook the bait, the direction you're going, the color of the hook, the size of the weight. It seems like a minor deal, but really it can make the difference between catching fish and not catching fish.
Steve may have gotten a fast start, but you can't keep a good bro down for long, especially when he's on the hunt for walleyes.
Oh no, he just caught up.
This segment is brought to you by Yeti Coolers. Yeti, wildly stronger, keep ice longer. We're in the midst of a commando battle for walleye supremacy on a small natural lake, and we're closing in on the end of the 2-hour window working Brian Brosdahl's live bait rigging technique. After a slow start, Bro has come back to take a one-fish lead.
There's a keeper.
That's one for the well there.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to help you bring home
man.
fish, you know?
I'm running the trolling motor now.
Oh no.
I'd like to tie it up with 5 minutes left.
No.
Yes.
You're kidding.
No. That's a walleye. Yeah, baby. Little guy.
Given the conditions in the shallow water we found the fish, Bro's live bait pattern was a superb choice. To be honest, I figured we'd find the walleyes holding deeper, likely over mid-lake structure, which is why I went with the plan to vertically jig Seville vibratos. But the fish were shallow, the sun high, and there was virtually no wind to cover our movements, so we couldn't hover over the fish without spooking them.
When I picked this technique, I figured we'd be out on some deeper humps, and
There's a ton of fish right here.
yeah, but I didn't think we'd be fishing vertically in 9 feet of water midday. I really hoped we could catch fish on jigging spoons today. The challenge was the conditions weren't right today, and this lake behind me probably wasn't right either. It was a little bit too shallow. At least the fish were holding a little bit shallow. And with the high sun, these fish really wanted meat today. Well, dude, it's been an hour. So we got a question. Do we go back to a live bait rig, or do we try something else? What,
I'd say let's try something else.
I vote for jigs, but
Okay.
what do you think?
I'd say let's do the jigs.
In situations like this, casting or longline trolling are your best options. So we decided to abandon the vertical jig approach and switch to casting lead head tipped with a minnow. And that's when Bro went on a tear.
It's a walleye.
No!
Yeah, baby.
No!
Yes. It's in the box.
Man.
In the boat, I mean.
All right, I'm switching to green.
Yeah.
What is it? That's a
I don't know.
walleye. That's a keeper walleye too.
All
I
right.
can't complain about that either. Ah, you're smoking me.
When the fish tell you what they want, you develop the cadence and jigging. When you put the bait in the contact zone and you get struck a certain way, you recreate that scenario. But remember, you're only as good as each cast or each drop, and it's going to change. So don't stick to the same way of moving the same bait. What I like to do is I like to double hook my minnows. It makes them weedless. So take a minnow, and here's your jig. Here's the bro way. I go. Some people go in and out the gills. I don't. I go in and I come out the chest. Now the next step is to shove the collar in, turn, and roll the minnow on. And you'll notice it's weedless.
What is it?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Is it a northern? It's
Big
one of
walleye.
those.
Oh man.
Boy, that's a nice
Nice eater.
nice eater. Look at the golden color. Some of these smaller lakes really have some colorful fish.
God.
That's only 5 ahead.
Oh, you're up by 5 now.
Yeah.
Jeez, that's almost a limit. You're gonna have to quit.
When Bro gets on a roll, he's almost automatic. And right now, that spells bad news for Steve Pennaz. Lake Commandos is brought to you by Yeti coolers, wildly stronger, keep ice longer. Gulp Alive, looks, feels, tastes alive. Yamaha Marine, reliability starts here. Not too kinky, no kinks ever. Freybill, trusted gear since 1938. And by Plano, protect your passion. In a commando battle for small lake walleyes, Brian Brosdahl is on fire and has jigged his way to a commanding 10-fish lead. But Steve Pennaz won't give up without a fight.
Wow,
It's a
I
walleye.
got a walleye!
All right. That's awesome.
I don't need your pity.
No, I'm happy for you. We're really hoping to get a 28 to 30-inch fish. Sometimes on these little tiny lakes you can find them. They don't get the pressure. The axes are a little rougher. They don't get the heavy fishing pressure, so the fish have time to grow.
Go eat your peanut butter sandwich.
No, you might come back and you'll be up. Look at this.
Oh,
dude.
2 in a row.
He's only down by 8.
I'm starting to figure it out.
You're starting to love it, aren't you?
The problem is I'm late.
How many minnows we got left?
1.
There's 1 minnow left?
1 lonely minnow. Three in a row, baby.
Man, this guy's on fire.
That's 3 casts, 3 walleyes.
Good job.
Down by 7.
I'm so happy for you.
With well over 20 walleyes caught and the last minnow gone, I had a choice: admit defeat or pull out the plastics and keep my comeback rolling. An easy decision. So I switched to a 4-inch power grub and promptly put another walleye in the boat.
Down to 6. 4-inch power grub.
But in the end, this day belonged to Bro.
Ooh, there's one for the well.
Nice one.
Yeah. All right. There's a nice one.
You're back up to 9.
Yep, back up to 9 ahead. But you know, the nice thing is you're going to be a hero when you go home because you're going to have a nice fish fry.
Even though I finally had to admit I wasn't going to catch him, it was good to make the adjustments I needed to and close the gap on Bro late in the day. And boy, did I learn a few things. First, it's easy to get set in your ways and sometimes it costs you. I've always lip hooked my minnows on jigs, but Bro had a unique weedless double hooking method that made a huge difference today, and it's a trick I'll be using again. Secondly, there's more than one way to fish the same bait. Bro and I had identical jig presentations on for most of the day, but he outfished me 2 or even 3 to 1 because he was constantly changing his jig stroke to trigger strikes. Our top performing bait was a simple 1/4 ounce long shank jig tipped with a lively shiner. We also caught a number of fish on the trusty 4-inch power grub late in the day, which makes me wonder if I'd gone with it exclusively if the results would have ended in my favor.
Well, Bro, I hate to admit it, but I have to admit you beat me today. It's over. You are the Lake Commandos champ for today.
We really had a good tournament, and I had a lot of fun. Coming to a body of water, I mean, I know some right now where we could just swing in and get a limit. We got a limit, a body of water, you and I don't fish. So that goes to show you. Plus, we threw back a bunch of fish. I had a great day fishing with you, Steve.
That was a good time. Rematch next
Yeah,
year. I'm
let's
telling
do
you,
it.
rematch. All right, let's head in.
Yep.
Here's your chance to go commando and win what works. Log on to our Facebook page and enter our free Win What Works sweepstakes. Every week, we'll pick one lucky winner and send them the same baits we used in that week's Lake Commandos mission. So enter today and go commando.
It's a walleye. It's a big one.
Oh, look at that beetle. It's a sucker.
No. Oh, wow. I've never seen one of those caught in the summertime.
I'm Captain George Mitchell. This is Coastal Chaos. You hear me talk a lot about boat positioning, whether it be for bait fish or wreck or reef fishing, but I want to tell you a little bit about anchoring. Anchoring is a surefire way to keep you and your baits in the red zone. Now everybody knows that your anchor is part of your U.S. Coast Guard package, but not everybody knows what a valuable tool it is for fishing. Before anchoring, I suggest you make a test drift or two so you have an idea of how the current and the wind will affect your boat movement. Watching your sonar is much easier than pulling anchor and repositioning. When you lower the anchor over the side, don't drop the whole length of chain at once. It might foul. And remember, when you're at 80 feet or more, put your outboard in reverse to avoid drifting over the anchor road. A good rule of thumb when putting out your anchor line is to make sure that you use the 5-to-1 ratio. 5 feet of anchor rode for every foot of water depth. Now this might seem a little extreme, but trust me, it pays to stay on top of the position. Now if your boat's not set up with an anchor windlass, another method for getting that heavy anchor and chain up is the ring and the anchor ball method. Now here's what we're going to do. We're going to put this ring over our anchor line, and then we're going to snap the anchor ball onto it. Once we've got it firmly attached, we'll throw it off into the water. Now that we got the anchor ball attached to the ring, we're going to angle out to the side, power forward slowly. All the while, the anchor line is going to be sliding through that ring. Once it gets to the chain, it'll go through. Anchor will pop up, the flukes will get hung in that little ring. We'll turn around, and all we're going to be doing is pulling it in because the buoy is going to be holding all the weight. All right, there you have it. The ring carried the weight of the anchor and the chain. Nothing to it. Coastal Chaos, tips for serious saltwater anglers.